let's say Pitts Ranch Park, and saying, hey, we have an ADA issue over there. So that doesn't stop somebody from saying that there's an ADA issue and filing a lawsuit. So what we're doing with this plan is it will allow the district to look at it, have somebody come out, survey it, making sure if there are ADA, we know they're going to come back with stuff. At some parks, they may come back with nothing. At other parks, they may come back, or facilities may come back with a plethora of 30 items. And then it's for us, for the district and the board to decide when we're looking at capital projects, what some of those projects are and how we start ticking some of those off of the list, so we're now in compliance. So that's part of this plan, and part of putting this in place is looking at those things. We know that we know things are going to come back. Like, there's no way things aren't coming back, but it's also helping the district to, one, make sure we have a plan in place, so that way if there is a lawsuit, we can say, look, we've looked at this, we've identified it, it's on the list. It may not be the top priority, but it's on our list, and we're working our way through them. So you've got a couple things that are happening at the same time as we're going through this.
Did we look at any other company besides this one?
No, so this was the sole source. If it's the wish of the board, we can go back and put an RFP out if that's what you'd like to do. So we can do that if that's the wish of the board as well.
Well, I just think this company's just in the business doing this, working with governments, and I think we could do it on a smaller scale. I don't think we have to have a company like this. I think there's a lot of ADA consultants out there that have private businesses that we could utilize that's not going to knock down $100,000 from us. The fact that they're giving us a 20% discount, I don't really understand that, because
they work with our insurance company. So Capri is who we get our insurance through. So one of the things that Capri tries to do is to make sure that we're in compliance, whether it's insurance, ADA, or all those things, because if we get sued over something like this, that means the insurance is now going to have to pay for a portion of that. So what they've tried to do in the last couple of years, because one of the things that Capri or Matt, or who oversees it, is they're seeing more of these issues start to pop up with people having or suing government agencies over ADA. So what Capri is doing is trying to get ahead of that, and by getting ahead of that, it means both trainings. I think both Jessica and Nick, and I know I sat on one, there was a series of 5 different trainings of initial information with DAC, who actually sat on the trainings, who's done this and went through information. But then once again, since they're working with so many agencies, has said, look, we will do a 20% discount. But like I said, if the board wants us to go out to an RFP, we'd be happy to go out to an RFP for this as well.
I'm not really saying that. It's just that this just looks like a business that's in business to do this, and that the costs seem pretty high to me. I'm not quite sure how I feel about this. Of course, they're going to go out and they're going to, let me just ask you, let's assume we get this list of all this stuff that we have to do. Mm-hmm. We all know that there's going to be a list with a lot of stuff we have to do. We're not protected from lawsuits just because we went out and made a list, are we? Is there some protection?
There is some protection, and that's the point of this. Is part of the protection is that we've done a plan and put something in place to identify that it's on a list and that we're going to get to it. What doesn't protect us is if we don't do it at all, and then all of a sudden you have 5 different claims, and it's like, okay, you have to do this one, you have to do this one. Now there's not a whole lot of protection, and that means those 5 projects now have to be done immediately. So what they're trying to do is get ahead of that and say, look, you've already taken these steps. These are the projects, this is what it's looking like, and hopefully this will kind of spur and look at once again, what the capital list project will look like and what things that we need to maybe address sooner than later. So.
Yeah, one of my other things, I saw that the company's an LLC, so I don't know. That's all I have.
Director Dansville.
It was just similar to, along the lines of what Director Kelly was mentioning. I was concerned about this potentially opening us up to more litigation, but it sounds like it'll help curtail that, essentially. And then the other question that I had is, are they doing anything aside from telling us what we need to fix? Like, will they tell us, yeah, this is how you can fix it for a more reasonable price, or are they connecting us to one of their preferred vendors and that sort of thing?
Yes, ma'am. ABCD, all of the above of what you said. So all of those recommendations come through. I mean, their interest in the communications we've had with them is setting us up to have solutions fixed as best as possible, understanding that we are a smaller special district and that funds are not necessarily generous to fix everything. So there is significant training included for staff as a part of the scope. So because, again, it's not just the physical inspections that are being done, you also have the procedures, the policies, the administrative services component. So training, suggestions, recommendations, cost savings, all of that is included.
Thank you.
Director Magner, do you have any questions or comments?
I do. I appreciate what Director Kelly and Director Dransfeld brought up, because that was one of my questions, because once we identify an issue, does that open us up for more liability? But I think maybe having it identified does help. But is Capri going to give us a break in our rates because we've had this evaluation done and we have a plan in place?
So at this point, Director Miner, they have not said we will get a discount based on having the plan in place. The only thing they have committed to discounts for is completing ADA training that DACS provided district customers, staff. So we can talk to them and inquire and see if our rates would be reduced with the plan in place, but they have not committed to that yet.
Thank you.
Yes. So what sort of financial offset would there be for the staff training? What would that take off of our annual payment to Capri? Or if you don't know that, that's fine, but.
They as far as I understand, is 10%. But that was a year ago when we completed the initial training. They have not given it updated for this year.
Thank you.
Mary, do you have it?
I was just going to say, so on an annual basis, whether it's this training or other safety trainings, so one of the ways to help reduce our insurance premiums, per se, is to do various trainings. So like Bob's staff will do tailgate trainings. There's other kinds of trainings that you can do to help with this, and so this is one section of that, and it's based on the number of trainings and the types of trainings that we do.
But don't they already do tailgate training?
That's why I said they do some of those, but it's also, you also have to have other things. So another thing is we have to have monthly safety meetings. So that's another way to get discounts. So there's a series of different things that add up to do for the complete package to get the 10%.
So with regards to this particular item, I think that personally it makes more sense to go ahead with the sole source at this point, because I think if we waited for an RFP and the number of months that might take, we're potentially opened up to liability for that. But for future items like this that might come up, if there are considerations for other entities that might be able to provide the service as well, I'd probably like to see RFPs if and when possible, so we can have an understanding and confirmation that it's like we've seen with the kitchen remodel. The variance there was 175,000 to upwards of 400,000 or 500,000. So just want to make sure that, like Director Kelly said, that if there's some consultants out there that can accomplish the same thing, but at a lower price, that'd be ideal. But since it's through our insurance agent, Capri, I assume that they want to pay out less money. So I think that we're able to trust them to know it's in our best interest and theirs. So with this particular one, I'm comfortable with going with that, but just for future reference.
Well, Capri is actually us. It's California Association of Park and Rec Insurance. So it's an organization built around our needs, and they're there to protect us. And because this is a legal matter, and I'm suspecting they have a lot of experience at it, and we have exactly zero experience at these sort of things. That picking someone that the insurance company is competent, knows what they're doing is smart spending. It's not. I'm sure there's lots of people that could hang a shingle on the door and say they're specialists in this, but I don't actually think there's going to be a lot of expenses, because ADA has been a conversation in these meetings for decades. And, for example, the restrooms out at Freedom Park that Miracle will be using were updated to ADA specs 20 years ago. So, there actually is a lot of stuff that we've done over time to make our stuff ADA. But it is important to have it documented. It is important to have a plan. It is important to actually do this stuff. I mean, I hate that the state sends us these problems and asks us to fund them to the tune of $80,000. It burns me, but it's necessary and it's important. So we need to do it. So I need a motion.
I move that we approve the proposal for accessibility services and authorize the general manager to enter into a contract for consulting services with Disability Access Consultants, LLC, to complete an ADA transition plan and self-evaluation for $82,000 and $880.
Second.
Karen,
second.
please call the roll.
Director Dransfeld,
Aye.
Director Roberts,
Aye.
Director Magner,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Chairman Malloy.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Thank you, Jessica. Great work as usual. We're on to item 9, oral communications. Informational items which did not require action but relate to district business, reported by members of the board and staff as follows. And first up is me, Chairman Malloy. I had, since we didn't have a meeting in August, I have 2 months worth of meetings in it here. First is the regular board meeting of July 1st. And then the first summer concert on July 24th, where I emceed along with Councilman Tremblay. It was really exciting to see such a big crowd show up to our first event, and really fun to greet everybody. We had a VCSDA meeting on August 3rd, Finance Committee on August 12th, special board meeting regarding the CVRA action on August 13th, an ad hoc on the Miracle League contracts on August 20th, board chair meeting with Mary on August 23rd, and policy committee on August 26th. I'd like to cover a couple other topics, and the first is the 815-page board packet, which is a track record I don't want to see broken anytime soon. That reflects a monster amount of work from the staff. Roughly half of it was the community service group contracts, which are complicated and complex because we're talking about organizations that have been with us 30, 40 years, and there's a lot of topics to cover. But it was a tremendous amount of work done over the last 2 months, and I really appreciate it. I'm sure you've all seen that the Arneal Ranch Park renovation has started. You might recall last time we met, I asked the contractor specifically if he was ready to start on July 26th, and he said, yes, absolutely. So I rode by on my bike that day on July 26th, and sure enough, the fencing contractor was out there putting the fencing up all around the park, and we didn't see hide nor hair of the contractor for several weeks. Now, because Camarillo is a small town, and Jay Bain also works for Pleasant Valley School District, I also, on my bike, swung by that project at PVC school and saw that our contractor was behind on that project and had a hard deadline to meet because school's about to start. So that's why they started a little later, but they've been going at it furiously, and there's a lot of equipment going out there. And I wanted to ask Bob, what are those big empty holes that they're digging outside around the edge of the track? Oh, so that's where the base goes for those. Yeah. Yeah, I asked the staff if we were putting a swimming pool in, and yeah, a little deep for that. But yeah, that's great. No, they're making great progress. I'm sure most of you have attended one or more of the summer concert series. It's been a really big success, and I want to thank the city for funding that again this year, and for our staff for organizing it so well. I'd also like to thank board members Dransfeld, Magner, and Kelly for joining me in handling the MC duties at the start of it. It's a lot of fun to be able to talk to the community that we serve. I'd also like to thank the city for passing through $200,000 in Prop 68 per capita funding for parks. As you are likely not to recall, there's two components to Prop 68. There's money that's earmarked out into specific amounts, and Oxnard got a grant for $8 million to build something Airplace, and our grant for Arneal Ranch was rejected, and we got nothing. But in this case, there's also a separate amount for dollars for park expansion and building based solely on population, and the city of Camarillo agreed to pass that money through to us. So thank you, council members Craven, Kildee, Molche, Santangelo, and Tremblay for doing that. Recently, you may have seen that our local state assembly member and state senator announced they were able to get $3.3 million earmarked from Prop 129 COVID relief funding for Conejo Park and Rec District for deferred maintenance and operational assistance, and $5 million for the city of Oxnard for a full-service aquatic center. And Camarillo and PVRPD got nothing. Camarillo's share of the federal infrastructure funding secured by Congresswoman Brownlee will fund adding some side rail to the train tracks, and that's actually outside of Camarillo, and widening of Central Avenue for a bike path. So that's what we get out of that. Apparently somebody thinks that high school students still ride their bike to school, and that same person thinks that putting a bike lane on a road where cars go 55 miles an hour is something people's going to ride a bike on, and I can tell you for sure that's not really going to happen. Our fiscal year 2021, which is unaudited, but as Leo mentioned, came out really well. We budgeted so conservatively on the revenue side and spent so little on the program side since we were shut down. We ended up with revenues of $8.7 million, which is $1.3 million over our budget of $7.4. Our personnel expenses at 93% and service supplies at 88% are also well under. And so we had total expenses of $6.7 million on a budget of $7.4. The cash has increased because it's increased $1 million because we haven't spent money on our capital projects, which is something we always go slow on when worried about our revenue, as we were with the COVID. And in assessment district, we hit it almost on the button, 1.2 million in income and 1.14 in expenses. And we only got $39,000 of Quimby fee money, which we don't budget for because we never know when it's coming through. And we spent $200,000 of it, but we budgeted for 1.5 million, so that those projects will be in the next year. Our July finance report was pretty straightforward because it's the first one of the year, and it's only spending for 1 month. But it is the month where we send CalPERS our annual unfunded liability payments, which increased from $434,000 last year to $505,000 this year. And this includes payments on the 20-year repayment plan for our 2.5 at 55 plan employees and retirees, and full payment on the previous year's unfunded liability for the employees on 2 at 60 and 2 at 62 plans. CalPERS reported a 21% investment return on their portfolio during 2021, increasing our 2.5 at 55 plans funding status from 70 to 82%. However, this increased return triggers an automatic increase in the forecasted, or decrease in the forecasted rate of return next year from 7% to 6.8%. And this change drops our funding status back to 80%. And will trigger an increase in the amount the district and the employees will be contributing during future payrolls. And it hasn't been defined exactly yet, but we're expecting to be 0.5% for the employees to pay and 0.5% for the district to pay out of the payroll. That's roughly what the impact is expected to be. And that's all I have. So item B, Ventura County Special District Association and CSDA. Director Magner.
Hang on, my button's not working. Okay. As Chairperson Malloy said, I am in Monterey at the annual California Special Districts Association conference and showcase. There are 711 registered guests. It's been 4.5 full days packed into 2 days. And so I will give a full report when I get back. Yesterday we had the board meeting and I was reelected as the vice president. We are, the executive board will stay in place like it was last year. So I will be the VP again. Some interesting things going on. I'll give a in-depth legislative report when I get back. I'll have a little more information. I'm still gathering a little bit of information on the bill that's currently going through Congress and see where I think we're probably going to be able to get some more money with that. Also, I have some information for Mary and staff on possible assistance with grants with the national advocacy group that CSDA has hired. So I will be sharing all that information with her. And then I'll explain to everybody how the breakout groups went and things. So very interesting. I would say maybe 10% of the people are wearing masks, and keep in mind that probably out of that 700 plus people, 90% of us are 70 and over. So we'll see if it's a super spreader. Hope not, but never know. As Chairperson Malloy said, that Ventura County Special Districts Association met on August 3rd. It was a hybrid. I think maybe 20 or so people were in attendance physically, and there was quite a few people on Zoom, and the speaker was on cyber security. Also tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, the Ventura County chapter will be receiving the CSDA award for the chapter of the year, and that has to do with the advocacy efforts that we worked with Caneo and Rancho Simi that got us the recognition. So even though we didn't get a whole big hunk of money, why we're still going to wait and see. The office of the governor they're still fine-tuning those steps, and I don't know if Mary received them today or not, but I was told they were out, so I'll follow up on that. But other than that, I'll give a full report on the breakouts when I come back. That's it, sir.
Thank you, Elaine. Move on to item C, which is the Ventura County Consolidated Oversight Board report is in your board packet. So if you have any questions, email Mike Mishler. He can give you the answer. But they're making progress on cutting down the amount of money that the cities are siphoning out of our property tax increments, and documented all of the projects and when their expiry dates will be, and there's a chart that includes all that in your packet. Santa Monica Mountains, Director Dransfeld.
We had a meeting on July 19th, and there was a presentation by the Community Nature Connection. Fire funding, they're just waiting for August resolution, so we have a meeting. We were dark in August, so the next meeting is slated for the third Monday of this month at 6:30. And there's some informational items, but one hot topic that came up was Parks' role with e-bikes, because they're noticing different policies being enforced, and so they're just trying to come up with some consistency, so that will be another item that will be discussed this month. And that's it.
Yes, e-bikes are definitely a problem in parks. I can tell you that. I've seen that. I've seen that firsthand, and we've seen it firsthand. Standing committees, finance. Jordan.
I think most of ours was covered with the policies that came forth today, and then you gave a pretty good overview already, so we don't have too much to report other than that from my perspective. So I think everything was kind of buttoned up in this meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Liaison, we did not meet. We have a new school district superintendent. Very nice lady. I got a chance to meet her at my morning watering hole at Starbucks, and met her along with Eric Tennyson, and I'm sure you'll be meeting.
On my call list.
Yeah. Okay, long-range planning.
Last one we had was in July, and we had a rather robust turnout from the equestrian community. So we had a lot of public comment and discussion, and our next one will be coming up here pretty quick in September. And at the last meeting, we discussed reaching out to the Homeowners Association to have discussions with them, reaching out to the county with regards to certain parcels and feasibility of easements, as well as creating a timeline for us internally, because at some point the long range is going to be short range, and it's coming up in 2023. So I think if we're going to start considering these things, we're going to need to start working towards bringing it before the full board, so we can budget for anything that we might need to for 22, 23, and start considering all of the other complexities associated with the trails over there.
Complexities is a good word. Personnel.
We met in July 28th, so my memory's a little foggy, but we went over in a fairly decent detail of the unrepresented employee manual and some other personnel policy and procedures.
Okay. And policy met on August 26th. And we covered board decorum and norms, and started discussion on a special event policy. That's going to be a while. Ad hoc committees, pickleball.
We have not met. However, they did host the Cam Slam tournament. I went the first night as they were wrapping up. It looked like they had a great turnout. Everything was set up really nice. And they had 170 players with 90 volunteers and about 300 spectators. They were able to have a net profit from the tournament of over $10,500.
Yeah, I went by and I was blown away. It was super organized. They had lots of sponsors. They had I believe those numbers on the volunteers and the participants. It was huge. It was way beyond what I expected. I mean, I've never seen any activity grow so fast and get such support as pickleball had. It made me feel good knowing that we're about to invest a lot of money in a facility for that. It made me really feel really good about how together and organized they were. Foundation.
The first thing is we have completed the refresh of our logo. One of our former directors would be happy. We're changing our branding and refreshing it, and it looks very nice. So the next flyer you will see the new logo. We have the Park Challenge event on September 18th. Teams can register and start at the community center. I think it starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. They will complete a challenge to get the clue to the next park, visiting 10 parks in total. All teams will end at Cam Grove Park, where there will be food trucks and live music. The event is sponsored by the Camarillo Hotel and Tourism Association, Visit Camarillo. And we were partnering with CMH, Ultimate Escape Rooms, Music Freaks, Kidstream, PB Co-op, Lincoln Military Housing, and Tutorific. Then also in November and December, we will be having a Winter Wonderland of Reese event, and we will be finalizing details and getting them out to everybody. And this event will also be sponsored by Camarillo Hotel and Tourism Association. So got two really great events coming up, so look forward to everybody coming out and participating and being involved with the foundation again.
Thank you, Elaine. General Manager's report. Mary.
All right, we'll see if we can keep this quick. I know that Chair Malloy talked a little bit about our Neal Ranch, so if you haven't been by, I suggest you at least drive by. You can see all the dirt and all everything that is being moved. We've been posting photos online to keep everybody in the know so people can see what the progress looks like, so we'll continue to do that. Last summer concert is this Saturday, so just a reminder. On the personnel side, we've just finished hiring 4 park staff, so we've been down, so we've just hired 4 park staff. Steph's last day was on Friday, so we are in the process. We'll start that recruitment here in the next couple weeks. We are finalizing, we've done the recruitment for the 2 rec specialists. We should hopefully have some people on waiting, hopefully in the next 3 weeks or so. So I'll give you more information as that comes out. Couple other updates, and once again, thank the city for the Prop 68 funding. So they went through their process, weren't able to use it. So a couple key things with that, and that'll be coming back before the board in October at the October board meeting, is that those funds have to be expended, excuse me, by March of 2024. So we'll be bringing back a couple projects, our Neal Ranch and Freedom, which is the pickleball. So we'll be bringing all that information back with the resolutions to accept the funds from the city as well as to expend funds. So the district in Prop 68 has about 222,000. And as you mentioned, the city had 220. So that's about 440,000 that we'll have in Prop 68 that we'll be able to use toward one of those projects. The other couple updates, the SOMAS project. So we've been working with the annexation on that project. So since Anthony's left, Dylan and I are working through that. So Dylan's learning all kinds about land management right now. So we continue to work through that process. Our hope is we're trying to get it to the LAFCO in October, so hopefully we'll be able to do that as we continue through this process. So that'll be a big step if we can get that project moving forward as well. So I think with those are the highlights for today. I was trying to think, Bob, was there anything I missed from? Oh, thank you. I knew there was one thing. Wood Creek, if you've not been by there, they're actually going to start construction. I know. It's been 6 years, but they're actually going to start construction on that site. So we are excited about that. So just a reminder, that's the well. They'll eventually put up a wall.
Free water?
That was yes, we still have free water at that site due to the original agreement. So, but that's, so they'll be putting up the wall. Once the wall goes up, for those that have not been around, there will be landscaping and such that will go up a lot like the current well on the other end. So the projected timeline for this project is 360 days. if I remember correctly. They're hoping to have it done sooner, but just so everybody knows, it's not gonna, it's gonna take a while for the project. So I think those are all the highlights that I have for today.
Yeah, I accidentally dropped in on the bidder walkthrough. I was riding by on my bike, just saying, "Oh, what's going on with this park?" Because the neighbors had complained about how poorly the landscaping had been, and there were quite a few potential bidders on the project. So it's a big project, and the old one is still pumping, and we're still getting water there. So it's very much in place. Okay, items from individual board members. Director Dransfeld.
I attended the first post-COVID in-person meeting for VCSDA. I have been to all of the summer concert series so far. They have been going really well. A very special thank you to Connor and the entire recreation team. I've been seeing some feedback from people that they're liking the new timing. One concern has been the sun in everyone's eyes. And shade and whatnot. But I also attended the end of summer camp out, and it was such a fun and unique experience. It was the first time my daughter's ever been camping, but it was just a reminder of what a gorgeous and special park we have. I attended the Chumash storytelling by Alan Salazar. He's one of the Chumash elders. And some of the HCF hikes that I went on were the butterfly safari and connectivity to the land. My daughters also had a wonderful time in aquatics, and we were very lucky to have Olivia as one of our swimming instructors. Just really cool getting to see the little kids jump off the diving board into the 12 feet, and some of them just overcoming that fear and how that courage just ended up being so contagious. And then just a friendly reminder to everyone out there, don't forget to vote. September 14th is your last day to submit your ballots. There's one out here in front of the City Hall and all around Ventura County, and in-person voting's from Saturday to Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on election day 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Director Magner.
I have nothing, thank you. I'm just ready to come home.
Tired of being cold, huh?
I am. It is so chilly, and I got halfway up here, and I realized I didn't bring a coat, so that's my fault.
Well, it's Monterey. I'm sure things are very affordable there. Or not. Director Kelly.
Well,
Just a quick one. Got a chance to be out at PV Fields this last weekend, and there was a ton of soccer players out there. It was an electric atmosphere. Everyone was so glad to be back outside and doing the thing that they really love, and it was very invigorating, and I really liked it.
Great. Director Roberts.
I too went to the camp out, and it's one of my favorites that the district puts on, and I just have to say all the staff and the other folks who were there, the vendors, the Chumash storytelling, everyone made a really special event, and my daughters loved it as well. And also was able to attend a couple of the concerts, very happy with it. I know there is some people who don't like the later time or the earlier time, but I think it's great. I think a lot of us get out there around dinner time, and you see a lot more families and it's a little more family friendly. So I appreciate the time, and trying to get out to the next one. I couldn't attend the previous one, unfortunately. And I just want to thank staff as well for putting in all this work. Again, like you said, 816 pages, and that's a lot of time and effort and work, and I appreciate it. All of the thoroughness and everything that you're helping us accomplish. And with regards to hiring, I was glad to hear that we've hired as many people as we can. What was that? Well, I think it's a good step at least. You know, there are always more, but in this environment, I'm glad to hear that we're able to attract people and hopefully retain them as well. And like to acknowledge staff for that as well.
Yes, thank you. I think every business in town that intends to continue doing business has got a help wanted sign at their front door. So it's definitely a buyer's market. Okay, I'm adjourning tonight's meeting in recognition of the recently retired customer service representative, Stephanie McClure, who gave us many, many years of great service. Thank you, and we are adjourned.